Ravens Wrap is sponsored by Bud Light, jctickets.net, Geico Insurance, Dunaway Furniture, Ocean City Golf Club, RussellStreetReport.com, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Holiday Inn Express, the original Green Turtle, hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
Welcome back in. It's the original Green Turtles Ravens Wrap Show right here on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio, the strongest Ravens affiliate on the peninsula, 93.5 The Beach. We are broadcasting from the infamous Ravens Room with Ravens Roost 44 and Ravens fans all across Delmarva. Of course, we want to thank our sponsors at the original Green Turtle, the Blue Ox Bar and Grill, Bud Light, the Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Geico, the Ocean City Golf Club, jctickets.net, the Holiday Inn Express at Northside at Ocean City. And most of these, if not all of these fine sponsors actually, give us giveaways to give out to you guys. So we want to see you down here for the show as our fine audience is here today. 7 o'clock Wednesdays, want to come out for them. We also have chances for you to win Ravens tickets on top of all that. So always good stuff going on here. And again, want to let you know our fine folks at Dunaway Furniture that have presented us with this brand new set this year. Best prices at the beach. Right now, they're giving away a free Serta I-Series box spring with purchase of a mattress. They also carry replacement mattress and box spring sets for as low as $399 for a queen set. Check them out, 410-250-5100, located there at 130th Street and Coastal Highway, Bayside. Mike Bradley from 105.7 The Fan and WGMD here locally. Tony Lombardi from RussellStreetReport.com. We've got Bruce Laird, former All-Pro Baltimore Colt, and Bobby Vermillion, OC local and host of a million different golf shows on the East Coast. And former host of the Stallions show too, though. So
surprised he has time to be here.
Yeah, like I said, I grew up watching you, Bobby, and now we're done.
That makes me feel good.
We did that. I know we did that.
Here we
Last year.
Yep. Hey, wait a minute, you grew up watching me and Bruce.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Thank God for ESPN.
Well, the Ravens 14-6 winners over the Cleveland Browns, and Joe Flacco, by the way, has never lost to the Browns. He's now 11-0 against them. He owns the most wins by a quarterback against an opponent without a loss since the 1970 merger. So continuing to make history against the Browns. And we talked about a tale of two halves for the offense, by the way. Flacco 7 of 8 for 87 yards on third down in the second half. And, of course, he had the go-ahead touchdown drive in the third quarter where he threw a 23-yard touchdown pass to Torrey Smith and a 10-yarder to Brown and an 11-yarder to Brandon Stokely on that drive. So Joe had a good game as we talked off air, guys. He had a good game and should have had 2 more touchdown passes if Smith and Brown catch passes earlier in the game. But they overcome it, get better, and they get the victory. The running game also got better, certainly, in the second half as well. We've got questions from the audience that we want to take at this time right now, so I'll divvy these out a little bit. And this first question is very apropos because we want to talk about the shakeup a little bit at some of the positions. We had a shakeup in the secondary. I'll let you talk about the corner spot where one guy replaced another as a starter, but also at the free safety spot, Bruce, we had a change from one to the other. So your thoughts on the safety situation?
I'll tell you, that's a very interesting move. You go out and get a guy like Huff that's been around in the league for a while, high draft choice, and has got some years on him. They go to Denver, opening game, and then you see him replaced. That's a big statement. I think it's a statement not only to his possibly lack of understanding how to truly be a Raven, as we all talk about. They're saying that probably in Pittsburgh too. Be a Steeler, be a Raven. But really what that means is understanding what we're doing and making sure that you're making the plays that you should be making. So that change really took me by surprise when I saw that. And also putting Jimmy Smith in, starting over Graham, that was a big surprise to me as well because we're waiting for Jimmy Smith, the #1 draft pick. Big, tall, physical guy. We're waiting for him to come out and blossom and be this kind of corner, be this Mel Blount type, get in your face, be able to run, be physical, and he hasn't gotten there yet. But the Ravens coaching staff obviously feels that that's what we need to do and put those guys in.
And the good thing is those guys are interchangeable. Elam can play strong safety, free safety, what have you. And it's a little damning on Huff's part because of the contract that he signed, but we'll see how it plays out. I think he'll get a chance to redeem himself at some point. It is certainly a long season. Next up, do you think the Ravens will bring Matt Furstenberg up at some point off the practice squad? Bobby, we'll throw that to you. Considering the issues we've had, Ed Dickson is a disappointment. I didn't understand Dallas Clark the other day. He had a catch, he took a shot, but he caught the ball. They never went back to him. Badgema caught a pass, but clearly we need more production out of the tight ends. Your thoughts on Furstenberg?
Absolutely. I think Dallas Clark has taken a tough rap after week 1, and he dropped that touchdown pass. But, one thing about Dallas Clark, he has a proven track record. He's a true professional, and he's a good receiver who can make the catches. As a tight end, he's more like a big receiver. He kind of fits the mold of a Pitta, so I think he's going to be fine. And he's got a body of work to show for. With Dickson, on the other hand, here's a guy that you wonder, is he ever going to get it? Because he really hasn't performed to what we thought he would be when he was drafted. So, they may take a flyer on the rookie and bring him up to see what he can do. I think they'll give Dickson a little bit more time, but you could see a situation similar to what we saw with Huff. He may have a short leash. If he doesn't perform in the next couple of games, they could make that move certainly, because this guy has a lot of upside, and Dixon's confidence could be shattered right now.
Yeah, well, we'll find out what happens. I'm sure when they feel he's ready, they'll bring him up. They obviously know there's a glaring need there right now. Next question, we'll throw this for Tony. And Tony, we talked on my program on the Fan Up in Baltimore about this individual a little bit. Kyle Juszczyk, one of the questions is he's got a lot of the same not intangibles, but measurables, I should say, as a Bolden, as a Pitta, or if not close, or if not exact, he's close by. He had great hands in college. And I did think, too, that he was going to be used more in the offense, and we'd actually see him even at least a little bit in a couple of packages in the first couple of games as that H-back, maybe fullback guy. Haven't seen him yet other than special teams.
Yeah, you haven't. And they liked his versatility because he could run the ball a little bit. He could block. He's got really good hands. And he's built a lot like Dallas Clark, kind of similar stature. Mm-hmm. So it is a bit of a mystery. The only thing I could think of, and we saw a little bit of this in preseason, is that the game might just be a little bit too physical and too fast for him right now until he adapts to it. Because he's not coming from a big school, Harvard. I mean, the speed of play in the Ivy League isn't quite the same as in the NFL, so that might have something to do with it. But, a guy that can get out in space and shows good hands, given the struggles that they've had at tight end, I think it's time for him to, perhaps even before Furstenberg, is for him to see the field. The guy was a 4th-round draft pick. Mm-hmm. He's got to see the field.
Tony, because the National Football League, 32 team wide, they use 2 tight ends in their offensive packages almost 35% of the time. So that's every team out there putting 2 tights, or we call them Ys, 2 tights on the field. And the reason for that is because if you stay like normal thing, 1 on each side, 2 receivers, 1 back. So what's the strength of the formation? And then you start moving them around, which all of these tight ends are doing, going inside the numbers. You go from trips back to regular. So what I'm telling you, that makes the defense change from strong right to strong left to back to strong right again. And what they want you to do is make that mistake. Someone not understand the strength of the formation. The one thing a defense must know from all the guys on the ground there with their hands in the ground and all of us, the strength of the formation. If that's blown, the whole system of your defense is blown. If you don't know the strength, you cannot take the next step. So 2 tights do that a lot to defenses. They're trying to get you to think.
And Cincinnati's almost using that as their primary package on
oh, yeah, and especially, again, when you have that, now where are you going to? You have to decide, is it to a number like Cincinnati? Is it going to be to Gresham? Or is it going to be the wide side of the field?
Those things, Eiler,
right. He was wide open down the
Eifert,
seam the other night against
and those things are all things that you do all week long. So then when you're ready for the game, that's how you dictate it. And obviously the coordinator sees that, and he starts working the backside of stuff. So 2 tights, not only can you run the football, but if you have those kind of quality players that can stretch the field, as you say, Tony and Bobby, down the seams and get in the middle, you're really at a disadvantage as a defensive team.
Well, and I think the statement might have been made, too, concerning where he is at right now, Bobby, with the fact that we brought back Vonta Leach. And I'm glad we did. We've talked about he can help us in a lot of ways, special teams as well, but the increased importance of the running game, I'm glad he's back. But there was some talk that the Ravens wanted to see Kyle Juszczyk in pads first, for a practice or two to see how he would do. Tony, you might have told me that, to see how he could keep up with the speed and physicality, and then it might have found out that he's not there yet, and that might have been one of the reasons why Leach was brought back.
I'll tell you what, you look at a great football player, and if you ever take your eye off the ball, look at 44, lead block. This guy is a monster, and that's one of the things that's been surprising because he got to camp late. You would think that he may be behind a little bit, but in the 2 games I've watched him, and I do watch him a lot, I kind of just watch him go through that whole. He's playing some great football. He's actually caught a couple passes. Leach seems like he's picked up where he's left off last year, and it has been disappointing because they haven't run the ball very well, but it's not because of Vontae Leach, I can tell you that. He's the real deal, and I think what Tony alluded to, I think it's too big for Juszczyk right now. They had some comments during training camp, and you know about this more than I do, for sure. They commented that he just wasn't filling that lead blocker. They kind of waited to see, and they figured that he couldn't get it done. That's why they went back to Leach.
No, good questions, folks. And for the question, will Joe allow Lee Evans to hold the baby? The answer is probably not. Probably not. So, but come on, we won the Super Bowl. Let's move on from it.
It's certainly not Ed Nixon.
It's just like booing
Way to
Billy
go,
Cundiff,
Lou.
folks. It's over with. We won
Way
the
to
Super
go,
Bowl.
Lou.
It made for a better storyline. Man, oh man, you guys, you're rough. You're rough to say the
With that
least.
in mind, what about Billy Cundiff's return to M&T Bank Stadium?
Oh, yeah.
Well, right.
I mean, it wasn't a very warm reception from Ravens
No,
fans,
it definitely wasn't.
Which was anticipated.
As I just mentioned. A couple of side notes real quickly, guys, I wanted to make mention. Hey, hats off to Art Jones. Here's a guy, defensive lineman, that had a viral infection near his heart. He missed the first game against the Broncos. I believe he had a sack. If not, definitely a couple of quarterback pressures, played very well. And the Ravens did a nice piece on their website about it. Was the sack of his life because of how close things came to being not very good for him. And we didn't know a lot. John Harbaugh was giving us a lot of detail, but hats off to him. Also, hats off to Tandon Doss. We know that he hasn't fulfilled his potential as a wide receiver, but coming in, playing special teams as kick returner, punt returner, he did a very solid job for the ball club, so that was good news there. Also, quick injury update. Ray Rice strained his left hip flexor. He's day-to-day, probably will be a game-time decision on Sunday. Good news, MRIs for Chris Canty, Shockey Brown, Arthur Brown revealed no structural damage with their various injuries today. Those 3 were not practicing, but I would expect that probably they'll be ready for Sunday as we do this on Wednesday. Also, rookie defensive tackle Brandon Williams and Deontay Thompson, limited practice today, so they're on their way back as well. So some of the cavalry is coming. We've got more of the Ravens Wrap Show to come right here on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio 93.5 The Beach.
In April 1959, Art Wall won the Masters, edging out Carey Middlecoff and Arnold Palmer by finishing birdie, 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 par birdie. 1 month later, Ocean City Golf Club celebrated the opening of their first 18 holes. That course has been transformed now into one of the most scenic golf layouts on the East Coast. Come experience 36 of the most beautiful and challenging holes you'll find anywhere. Ocean City Golf Club in Ocean City, Maryland.
Come see us at Blue Off.
Welcome to the Comfort Inn Gold Coast. Conveniently located just 1 block from the beach and adjacent to shopping at the Gold Coast Mall and the movie theater. Newly renovated and open year-round with a marvelous bayfront view. Visit us on the web at comfortgoldcoast.com and see our hot deals and great golf packages, or simply call our direct reservation line to plan your stay.